All right, guys, back with part two. I just wanted to check. I didn't want to get through all 49 people and realize that the computer didn't pick up the phone, so this is why I made it into a two-part video series. So we ended off with Adam. Now we're going to be on Henry Thielen, and I gave him a 77. So let's go and look at his first round. Okay, right there, that whistle, that prevented him from getting a 78 out of me. If you're going to do these advanced technical notes, you got to hit them perfect. And these advanced technical notes, especially the whistling, you can't hit for more than a half a second, because after that, it's just kind of too much. So if you're going to do these really cool, really high-end finesse notes, you got to do them perfect. If you don't do them perfect, they kill you. There's this fly in. Really great low end. Turkey notes, perfect. Big deep goose. Getting excited. See, I would expect to go up right there. There he's going up. Dies off. Goose rhythm right there. See, that's why he didn't get a 78 for me, is he didn't hit that whistle perfect. Okay, that's a 77 routine out of me. You know, and this is a novice contest, so if he was in the World Live or in a Open Live and there's Trevor Shanahan or Mike Benjamin and a bunch of these other guys, that wouldn't necessarily cut it. It's a novice contest. But I'm giving feedback. I want you all to get better because I want you all out there competing with us. So he got a 77. It's like building a song, right? If you can make that thing flow and never tell where your breaths are, and always are always in front of the judges, meaning you're always going up when they expect you to go up, and remember how I said I expect him to go up now. There was just a little bit too much time where he didn't do anything and he stayed right at the ground level. Okay, but all those notes were really crisp. They were pretty good. He's got his basic fundamentals down. I gave him a 77. He had goose rhythm in there. I thought he had an opportunity at being in the final, being a winner. And I don't know if he made it or not. I'd have to see. Okay, so now it's Justin Blevins. Okay. So here's his first round. I gave Justin a 77 round one. See, kind of repetitive. And he came off of super quiet, big stuff to really loud plucks. And then he just got really excited and came down. But right here, see, he hit it half a second less than what Henry did. So I gave him a little bit better I gave him the same score, but I didn't give him 78 like he could have. There's some other issues with Justin why I didn't give him a 78. It just didn't flow like some of these guys will get to. A lot of different notes, a lot of technical notes. So, I mean, overall, great caller. Foundations are great. He had goose rhythm. Maybe not as good as what it could be. But pretty good routine. So I give him 77. Okay? So now, Khio Lauj. Khio. All right. I'm going to do round 1. I gave Khio 75. Right there. So for me, he did a spit note, but he pushed his tongue too far forward to get it to train and vibrate a lot. That's where you hear that real deep nasally stuff, and he only did it one time, and he halfway did it on the next note. So what I knew by that is that was definitely a mistake. He did not mean to do that. If another thing I need to tell you guys too, if you're listening all the way through to everybody's notes, if you do something only one time and it's a drastic change than what you did before, judges might mistake that as a mistake. I had it in my routine a few years ago, putting a train note in, and I was docked for it. I did it twice, but I did it really far apart, and everyone thought that I was messing up because it was trains are something that you should definitely do in the bottom end. You should never do in your high end stuff in an open routine. But so there was some few mistakes, and that's why I gave him a 75 rather than a 77. So let's continue on. See right there, it didn't quite crack. There's some goose rhythm. Back down, nice and flowing. See right there. That wasn't a great whistle. You gotta be perfect with that stuff. Hiccuping. Goose rhythm a little bit, okay? So that's his routine. That's why I gave him a 75. He messed up a few different things. He had goose rhythm. He's doing some complex stuff. So that gave him a little credit there. And remember, I'm really only doing 3 different. You're either not good enough for this round, I want to see you next round, I think you could possibly win this, and then you knocked my socks off was the 4th one. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were in here. So that's how I judged the first round. So now we're going to go to Colt Carrier. Okay, we'll go to his first round. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. Big deep goose. Kind of went too loud for my liking right away. Okay, flowed good. Flowed off and then started taking his breaths to the bottom, hiding his breaths. That's pretty good. Oh, he slipped a note right there. That was his warm-up. Okay, good. Okay. He slowed. All right, let's work into it. That was a little off, the moan. See, here is where I expect you to take off and get excited. But it's drug out way too much. Big deep goose. I gave him a 75. I don't know if I already said that. There. That was great excitement, great flow. Came down off of it great. Went up off of it great. There's that whistle. The whistle really killed a lot of people in this contest. If you guys are going to do this whistling stuff, it has to be perfect. It has to be absolutely perfect. And for a split second, it's like salt and pepper. You just sprinkle a little bit. It's not this 5-second ordeal. It's a half a second. You just and then go on and do something else. That was great. That deep, long murmur, that was great. Okay, he's got goose rhythm, he's got flow. That whistle killed him. It brought him down to a 75. And he didn't quite flow as well as Adam and Henry and Justin and Nassim. Okay, so that's why I gave him a 75. Now we're going to go to John Anderson. Okay. gave John Anderson a 75. Got excited and came back down. That's pretty good. Hiccup. Oh, those are perfect trains. Those are perfect. That was a mess up note. And here's the whistle again, guys. If you're going to do this whistling stuff, it has to be perfect. And it has to be just a little bit. That was way too much. Pretty decent Goose rhythm. That was great. That was fantastic. I love that. But okay, so here his routine's kind of plain, right? There wasn't a lot. I mean, there was excitement, but there wasn't. You know, if you go listen to John Walls' or Trevor Shanahan or Mikey Benjamin, you go listen to their World Live routines. There's some excitement in there. So some of these guys that I'm giving 75s and even 77s, you need to step up the excitement a little bit. Not too much. You can't do it too much. Like I want to say 80% excitement, where most of these guys are at about 70% and maybe 65% excitement. In a live contest, going like to the wall, it could hurt you. It could hurt you, and you should never do. In my opinion, you should never do a triple cluck in a live routine. In my opinion, I think it's strictly capped at doubles. In my opinion. Okay, so John Anderson, he got a 75. That whistle killed him. That's why he went from a 77 to a 75. Okay, next person. Hunter Vue. Okay, that first note, I don't know if this is his practice. I gave Hunter 75. Okay, so that was his practice. It's a little botched there, that first note. That moan is rolled into the cluck. You need to clean that up. It's got to be moan, space, then cluck, not moan cluck. It was kind of rolled together. Great low end. Those were some great clucks. See here, we don't have any Goose rhythm going up and then down. And it's kind of all the same notes. There was a messed up note. So that's why Hunter got a 75. Okay. So now here we're gonna go to Nathan Warfield. So the moans, you need to work on fundamentals here. Those moans got to be worked on. And that bottom end, there's opportunity. There's opportunity there. You have great low end tone. You need to spice it up and break it up. You're doing one note, one long murmur, and you need to do short. You need to do hiccuping murmurs. You need to do. There's a lot more than just what you're doing. Where if you listen to some of these guys beforehand, they're doing those things. They're breaking up their murmuring. Go. Where you're doing one continuous note. And that's they have way more technicality. So I gave Hunter a 73, and that's okay. There's other people that have 73s in here, and it's just the fact that you don't have it yet, and that's okay. You will get better. You're gonna get better. You're gonna do the next contest, and you're gonna work on these things. And then you're going to not be a 73. You're going to go step up. You're going to be 74, 75. And then you're going to get some notes, and then you're going to work on it again. Don't be upset. You guys should never be upset I shouldn't say upset. You guys should never discourage yourselves from getting better because of a score you got. I can't tell you how many times in my duck routine I've gotten 3s and 2s, and it sucks. But if you're competitive, in which you're in a contest, so I assume all of you are going to be competitive, this should eat at you, and you should want to get better. And that is what you want to do. So, and I'm taking time out of my day to give you my opinion on what you could work on and get better. Big Sean, Scott Trinan, Kelly Powers, myself, we all have training videos on how to do individual notes. And I highly recommend going and learning how to do all those different notes, because once you take and master all those notes, you can apply them. So I gave you a 73 because it's a very simple routine. You're only clucking and moaning, and there's no complexity. There's no 3-note sequences or 2-note sequences in Goose rhythm that's going up. You did it a couple times, but it's just not quite there yet. So we're going to move on. Now we're going to go to Drake S. I don't even know how, and I don't want to butcher it. Okay. Drake S. Okay. Let's listen to this. See, that honking, that usually is never really done in a contest. There's no flow to this routine. And that right there, that note, whatever you're doing there, I think it's a moan cluck, and you're rolling them together. It's not it. Those spit notes, they could use some work. So here again, basic fundamentals. You're going to have to work on actual note structure. And I said before, Scott Trinan, Big Sean, myself, Kelly Powers, I'm sure Tim Grounds has some instructional DVDs. That's what you're going to want to work on, is individual notes right now. And 3-note sequences. Those will help you, especially in a live contest. So I gave you a 73. Okay, now we're going to move on. Adam Brazel, I think that's how you say it. Adam. I gave Adam a 73. Same thing here. It's basically clucking and moaning, and that's it. There's no complexity. There's a little bit of rhythm there. That's good. You need to keep going on that. You need to add some notes to your repertoire on what you can do to add complexity in your routine. And that's fine. That whistle, another reason why I gave you a 73. It dropped 77s down to 75s. So it dropped you from, possibly a 75 to a 73 for sure. Okay? So you need to add notes in your arsenal. Adam Brazel. I think it's Brazel, not Brazel. There's an E after the Z. Okay, next guy, Gage Bauer. I gave Gage a 77. It's not playing. There was a good one. His flying. Now here. Oh, he didn't do it. So he did a flying. Notes are pretty crisp, right? Hear that? There, he got some excitement. He got up and came down. good nasally bottom end. So it was a simple routine, right? But he had good flow, and he went up and then he went down. So to me, and he didn't botch any notes. I mean, a couple of those train notes like coming in, they were pretty close on the fence. But that's why I didn't give him a 78. It didn't knock my socks off, but it had great flow. You could definitely tell the geese were getting excited, and then they were coming down. So I gave him a 77. Okay, next person is going to be Taylor Fitzgerald. Taylor Fitzgerald. Okay, so that's a hail. This is not an open goose routine, so you got a 73. You scratch the note right there. So basically, all you're doing is clucking, and there's 27 there's 27 other goose notes that you can do, or 26, right? You got to add some of that in there to be able to have a lot more technicality, and it's going to make you a better goose hunter and caller. You're going to be able to do more. You're going to be able to call at more geese and convince other geese. So that's you hear stink about, well, my judges are geese. Well, yeah, if you're hunting X's, absolutely. Cover up, try not cluck once or twice, try not to mess it up. Absolutely agree with you. You don't need too much. But when you're in contest season and you're trafficking honkers or trafficking ducks, being able to rip on the call is going to dramatically help you in the traffic category of hunting. So it's basically this kind of clucking all the way through. I gave you a 73. Okay, so now, and the hails on that one, that's really how I knew that you weren't doing a live routine and you were trying to like do an open style a little bit. You never hail in a live routine. Now we're gonna do Joe Hanson, okay? So your clucks, those clucks quite aren't correct. I don't quite know what those are. So you got Joe Hanson got a 73, right? And that was his warm up. So there's a little bit of a hiccup right there, you know. But basically, fundamentals are going to be what you need to work on, Joe. That right there, that was great. That was fantastic. But it doesn't offset the fundamentals of the cluck, right? So you're not correctly doing a cluck. And even though what you just did there was a turkey no murmur sequence of a hiccup, which, I mean, it was pretty good, it doesn't offset the fact that you're doing a cluck incorrectly. So I had to give you a 73. Okay. JJ Ellis now. Okay, so that note right there, that flying spit, it was wavering. You got to be better than that. Like, you got to make sure it's perfectly straight across. You can't waver. See, quick spits, doing pretty good. See, and you're wavering in that moan or flying spit or whatever you're trying to do. And those soft stuff, they're way too drung out. I gave JJ Ellis-75. He has great tone. Got some excitement there, little goose rhythm. But ultimately, JJ, see, there's more goose rhythm. Those flying spits that you're doing, those are what hurt you and brought you down from, you know, a 77 to a 75. Great tone on his murmurs, not too much. Another thing too is a very simple routine, just clucking and moaning. So that's another reason it brought you down from 77 to a 75. If you had some other technique, like other stuff in there, I think it would have brought you up to a 77, and you would have took away those flying spits that were done kind of incorrectly and drawn out way too long. I think you would have got a 77. But that's two big major things. Learning the other notes is definitely going to be a major thing. That's going to take a lot of time. The flying spit note fixing, that's not going to take very much time. You'll be able to have that down pat pretty soon. All you got to do is shorten it up and really be consistent at holding the power line and not doing this with it. So JJ got a 75. So now we're at Francis D. All right. I gave Francis a 78. Oh, this is not his first round. That was pretty good. See how it's straight across, JJ? Perfectly powered. Perfect fly-in. And then switched it up with some... Now, that right there. So he's trying to do what I did at Worlds. I forgave it a little bit because... I thought maybe, the phone made it sound kind of messed up, but that, if you're going to do something like that, you got to make sure it's perfect. And in my opinion, I gave him a little benefit of the doubt because it was through the phone. I'm going to do it here now to show you what a correct flapping sounds like. Now, if I show this and everybody does it, it's not going to have the same effect. So I would find something different because... if everyone is doing it, it's not going to gain you any points. But I do the fly-in like this. To-do. That's how, in my opinion, it should sound. Where you go, it doesn't sound the same. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt with that, and I listened to everything else in this routine. And in this routine, it's pretty good. Splitting up his murmuring. That was, see here again. I mean, he did it twice, but those were correct. Like, that is what geese sound like when they're coming in and they're whistling to each other. I personally would have only did one, and maybe did a second one somewhere else in my routine. Some complexity, some stall clucks. High, low, high. Getting excited. Hear that, Goose? Oh, that was beautiful right there. Murmuring. Hiccuping. A lot of complexity here. A lot of Goose rhythm. Hiding his breaths. You don't know where he's taking his breaths. So that was a pretty great routine. Perfect fly-in. Great Goose rhythm. A lot of complexity in there for a novice contest. I gave him a 78 because I was very shocked. I think I gave 6 78s. 2, 4, 6, yep. And quite a bit of 77s and quite a bit of 75s and then the rest 73s. So that was our first 78. Okay. Now, Aaron Gilbertson. Okay. Good clean notes. I gave Aaron a 75. See right there that change? It's kind of all the same notes. Good Goose rhythm. I think what would bring that up for me is some complexity. Never messed up a note. Didn't dock him for that, but it was kind of just cluck, 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 moan, cluck, 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 moan, cluck, 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 cluck. And it was kind of the same thing over and again. He had a couple things that he switched up. But but it just wasn't quite like in the previous version, like Francis or Adam Glass or Gage Bauer. You know, those guys, like they had some switching, right? And I think his goose rhythm was pretty good. He could have gotten a little bit more excited on the top end, I think, but overall pretty good. 75 is what I gave him. So let's move on to the next guy. Ben Nelson. Okay. Ben Nelson. That was pretty good. Triple cluck. That was. And then he's doing a comeback in sequence like an open goose. Fell off hard right there. You want it to flow like water. Think Bruce Lee. Flow like water. Triples. That was actually a quadruple cluck. So that's, I mean, he's doing stuff pretty consistently, but that's not what knocked him down, right? And it's kind of a repetitive sequence. You're doing cluck, 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 moan, cluck, cluck, double cluck, cluck, double cluck, cluck, double cluck. You're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. You do have some bottom end stuff, but it's really loud. And that's another reason like some of these guys get 75s is they're doing murmuring stuff, which is supposed to be quiet, but they're doing it at a rate in which it's really super loud. You got to go all the way up and come all the way back down, and really paint that picture. Overall, you didn't mess up any notes. That was fantastic. You got your fundamentals down on what you're working on there, but you need to expand. There's 27 different goose notes, and I think you got about 5 of them. So, I mean, if you can get another 10, 15 of them in there to throw in and sprinkle in, man, that'll jump you right up to a 77 in first round for me. All right, now Aaron Gilbertson, Ben Nelson. So I gave him a 75. Now Brian Paulus. Okay. That moan, got to fix something with that. And those murmurs, you're rolling a moan into a cluck like what? It's got to be more luck, more luck, more luck, more lick, more lick, more lick, not more huck, more hick, more hit, more hit, more hit. You're rolling stuff together. That wasn't it. Okay, I mean you got some clucks down. Absolutely got clucks down. You need to learn flow and rhythm. Because it's just all of a sudden and then backed off. And then all of a sudden and then backed off. So I gave you 73. I mean, you got clucks down. And again, there's 27 different goose notes. You need to add some of those in your arsenal and learn goose rhythm. Slow, fast, slow, fast, slow. Like flow like water, right? Like a nice, perfect, smooth roller coaster. That's what you're looking for in a live goose calling, and open goose calling, street.com. Flow is key. Riley Klinger. I gave Riley a 75. Kind of repetitive. That was a messed up note. There, that's good. All of a sudden you stop. That's not good. Gotta flow. And what I mean by flow is timing in between notes, right? As you get faster and faster and louder, the timing between notes gets slower, and then as you go off, so that's the timing, your notes start becoming really close together. Okay? kind of repetitive, right? There's 27 different goose notes in goose calling, somewhere ish around there. You're only doing about 5 of them. You need to add 10 at least. There's all kinds of things you can do. Okay, so I gave Riley a 75. Okay, Owen Voss. Owen, I gave you a 73. Okay. There's, again, 27 different goose notes. The cluck, you need to work on it, and your moan, you need to work on it. But that's okay. You got to work on it. You got to put time into it. You're also, it seems like a young guy. You're not older like some of these guys who can really push the call and punch it. So you're going to grow into that, and that's going to be okay. I would get, our stuff, Scott's stuff, Hunter Grounds' stuff, Big Sean's stuff on YouTube. There's plenty of resources. Ask some of the guys that advanced into the 3rd round to help you. That is what I would recommend is learning some goose rhythm with what you already know, and then kind of perfecting the cluck and the moan, and then from there work on getting to know different notes. There's turkey notes, there's push moans, there's spit notes, there's quick spits, there's hiccup sequences, there's 3-note sequences, a lot of this stuff, train notes, murmurs, 4 different kinds, all kinds of stuff that you can learn to help set you apart and get you to that 75 and then hopefully eventually 77. Okay. Next person I did was Ethan Kleekamp. Say Ethan Evan Kleekamp. Evan Kleekamp. Okay. All right, Evan. So you got the cluck down. Went a little too fast for what you could do. You messed up right there. But that's all you got. Okay, you need to add some more stuff. So you need to add more notes. You need to add goose rhythm. Slow, fast, back down to slow. Real nice and smooth, like a perfectly nice curvature roller coaster. Flow like water, think smooth. Okay? And you kind of do that thing over and over again. So that's why you got a 73. Okay. Tanner Forck. I gave Tanner a 78. So this was one routine that I really liked. Little stall cluck action, double stall cluck actually. Up and down. Yeah, okay, that was his warm-up. I was going to say, I don't remember that. Here we go. Perfect notes, right? Yeah, there he just headed notes. So now this is a routine. My bad. Perfect note. Your first note's got to be perfect. If you mess it up, you might as well just throw it all out the window. Look, see? Oh. Part geese. If that doesn't tell you part geese fighting and flying by you, I don't know what does. Murmuring. Some hiccuping, some stall clucking. Excitement. Switching it up. Some complexity. High cluck. Back and forth high cluck. Oh, quick spitting. Technicality. High-low clucking. I mean, That was a fantastic routine. 78, knocked my socks off. That was great. I mean, if that doesn't tell you what park geese are, I don't know what does. All right, next guy. Connor Matz. I gave Connor a 73. Got the cluck down. Big deep front bass. That's good. Just clucking though. Single clucking over and over again. And then you're stopping, catching your breath. I can hear you catch your breath. That's why I put you at a 73. You need to add some notes to your repertoire. And you need to get that goose rhythm down. Never be able to tell where you take your breaths in a routine. So, I mean, great clucking. I mean, can't get that. That's great. Deep front end. Now it's time to move on and challenge yourself. Learn some new stuff. You got the cluck down. Okay, so now we're going to go to TJ Brewer. TJ Brewer.
For warm-up.
Okay, so there's just something about that moan isn't quite right. Kind of doing the same repetition over and over again there. That flying spit stuff there, you stuck your call. You're not adding the right voice in there for some reason, and it's sounding off. That right there, the hiccup sequence, you're not completing your cluck. You're kind of just half rolling it over. It needs to have that crack on it. There you're quick spitting, but again, you're not punching a quick spit hard, and it sounds like your call is going to stick if you hit it harder. That right there. That tone, you got to try to figure out how to get rid of that. That was pretty good. Okay. So I mean, you can cluck, right? Some of your tones are a little off when you're adding it in there. You're almost quick spitting, you're hiccuping. There's just some, you have a little bit more of the previous three people that have 73s, but you're still not quite completing the notes 100% correctly, so that's why I have it at a 73. If you fix up and fix some of that stuff, automatically 75. So you're a lot farther ahead than some of the 73 guys. It's just you gotta perfect the notes, which I mean just takes time, man. That's all it is. It takes time, and at least like you can hear these results from one of the judges and go and grind on it and work on it, and then the next contest you're at a 75. It's just how it works. Everybody starts. I was there. I didn't even. There was a point in time in my life where I never even held a duck or goose call or a duck call. So we all start at the same spot. It just takes work. That's it. Everybody that's getting their scores, if you're upset at me, I'm sorry. You should be angry with yourself and want to get better, and that's what's going to drive you. I'm sure if you're going to look at the other scores, if you didn't make it where you thought you were, the other scores are going to be kind of saying the same similar thing. So I'm just encouraging everybody. I am going to be the bad guy, and you guys can hear the negative that I have to say, but it's out of love because I want all of you to get better. Period. Okay. I gave Brewer a 73. Okay. Carl Adcock? Carl Adcock? I'm going to assume. Don't do that. That right there. That, that's not it. There's something off about your quick spits. I don't think you have a sharp enough sound, and it was only a 30-second routine. I gave you 73. You got some clucks down. I mean, your clucks are down good. It was kind of the same thing over and over again. So again, 27 different Goose notes. Try to learn some more of them and fix a couple things like your quick spit, and also that long drawn out whine sound. Don't do that anymore. I mean, you can, if you're trying to do the whistle, it's got to be done better than that. It's got to be done differently than what you're doing. That long drawn out stuff doesn't sound good. Where am I at here? We were just at Carl Adcock. All right, Charlie Nicolay. I think it's Nicolay. Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Nicolay. Okay. All right. I give Charlie a 75. Big, deep, resonating Goose there. You lost the big, deep Goose in the front of your stuff. You also hail. That right there, the honk, don't do that anymore. That was your warm-up, but I can still give you a little bit of critiquing. Like you stop for a second to take a breath, and then start it in. Not good. You gotta flow like water and hide your breaths. Right there, that ee-yaw. You gotta work on that. There, those are good. You went from doing them incorrectly to doing them correctly. You're hailing. You're hiccuping. So you have technicality, right? You're doing things technical. You got more than just 3 notes that you're doing. And you got a little bit of Goose rhythm, but your flow of hiding your breaths and also a few mistakes is why I didn't put you at a 77 or a 78. That's why I put you at a 75. Okay. Ethan Noser. Kind of doing 2 different levels of a push moan. For me, it wasn't it. That push moan is like really like, you're not flat across. You're increasing pressure at the end, and it just doesn't sound great. You're elongating those moans out. You need to shorten them up a bit. Your flow, you need to learn how to take your breaths in the right spot so you can hide it. You're really moan heavy. That's good. That's good deep stuff. The murmurs there. Your Goose rhythm is a little off for me. I feel like you climb, but then you don't come back down, or you are up at the top and then you come back down. You don't ever do up, across, and then down. Like, you don't have the full amount. You start halfway through and then do it halfway. So I feel like that's why I gave you a 73. Just work on those few things. Add a couple. I mean, you got enough to really do well. You just got to clean it up a little bit. Okay. Blake Forkner. Good spit note. Too much time. Too much time in between. Like, too much dead space. I gave him a 75. Pretty quick and switching notes. That's some technicality. Good clucking. Okay, right there, that moan. High lows. Hit his breath pretty decent there. It's kind of all around. There's not a lot of flow. It's kind of just like all to the wall. Okay, and then it stops, right? So I gave him a 75. There was really no incorrect notes where I'm docking a lot of these guys. But it also didn't flow. So I gave him a 75. And he had a bunch of different, he had spit note, quick spit, murmuring, clucking, high-low clucks, hiccuping. So, you know, there's 5, 6, so there wasn't too repetitive, but it didn't give me thinking like, oh, this guy could win it. So I gave him a 75. Aaron Bottoms. Okay. I give Aaron 77. And then fell off, right? So that's great, perfect smooth ride up, and then fell off on the bottom. That was a great murmur. Got excited a little bit, did a little bump. I mean, he fell off, but there was a couple times I could tell where he took his breath. Why I didn't give him 78. Scratched the note. Great tone on the bottom end, though. That's nasty. That sounds good. Hiccuping. I mean, you don't have to know all 27 different goose notes to get a really good live scoring. This guy just did hiccuping, high-low clucking, stall clucks, and a lot of murmuring, but he made it sound so good. Like, that was great to me. It didn't have a lot of technicality in it, but where he lacked technicality, he had great, fantastic flow. So you got to kind of pick and choose what caller you want to be. Do you want to be a technical caller, or do you want to be a flow caller, or if you're really ambitious, do you want to be both? So, and the guys that want to be both, want to do it all, and don't stop, will obtain that, and that's the guys that usually wins a lot of these contests and win worlds and stuff like that. So I gave him a 77. There's a couple things in there that hindered me from giving him a 78. And that was that scratch note, and when he was at the top end, you could tell where he took his breaths, which, I mean, it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. But hopefully, Aaron, you hear my results and what I thought of it. Now, if you really, to beat some of these other guys, you're going to have to add some technicality in there, because they're doing exactly what I told you need to work on, and they're technical. Okay. So now we're at Dawson Cunningham. Okay, I gave Dawson 73. That moan, it's not correct. Great clucks. Drug it out too long there. All you're doing is clucks. You're murmuring, clucking, and a couple moans that are kind of incorrect. The whistle, you were a 75 and you did that, and it knocked you down to a 73. You guys, the whistle killed 10 people in this contest, knocking them from a 77 to a 75 or a 75 to a 73. Like, if you're going to do a whistle, it's got to be correct. Next is Mason Tait. I gave Mason Tait a 78. This was a pretty good one. Slight little spice. That's perfect. If you're another person listening to this that isn't Mason, you gotta just sprinkle stuff in and do it perfect every time. Cluck, quick spit, cluck, hit. That's technical. Hiccup into a hiccup, into a moan cluck. Perfect flow. Changing his murmurs. Some technical stuff there. Perfect, beautiful. Hear that flow? I think he was using his pool. I didn't give any extra points for using props or doing mouth noises. I was strictly just looking at routine. It's kind of hard unless you're in person and you're got your eyes closed and you don't know who it is. Those things, and you do it right at the right time. Those things can make or break you. But so that was Mason Tait. I give him a 78. Okay, so Brent Bierman is the next guy. I gave Brent a 73. Okay. There's something about the tone of that cluck. It's not it. That right there was a messed up note. You were trying to do a spit note and you missed it. Kind of just clucking over and over again, right? The quiver moan, that's another like a whistle note. If you're gonna do it, you better make sure you do it correctly. And that wasn't correct. If you're gonna do a quiver moan, I think Robbie Iverson does probably the best quiver moan you could possibly listen to, and it's in one of his routines on YouTube. Look at that for your quiver moan. I gave him 73. Mistakes, very, very, like just clucking over and over, very repetitive. Some goose rhythm in there. There was some. But again, I could tell where you're taking your breaths, things like that. The tone of the call was kind of off. Okay. Now, Jake Ford. I mean, listen to that. Absolutely crisp notes. Just crisp. Big, deep. Whoa, whoa. Complexity. Stall clucking. High, low. Whoa. Breaking it up. Not being repetitive. Here comes the high, low. Here comes the... Perfect flow. I gave him a 78. Double clock. Train. Completed perfectly. Using his 2 and 3 note sequences to his advantage to hide his breaths. See how he's doing things. He's not being repetitive where he hits them 7, 8 times in a row, but he's not just hitting them once. They flow, right? So clue, cr, clue, claw, clue, luck, clue. So he's breaking it up, right? That 2 to 4. If you do things about 2 to 4 times in a row, that's perfect flow. That is beautiful, perfect flow. 78. That was a great routine. Trevor F. Foliax, I think is how you say your last name. Oh, wait, no. Time out. Kyle Bauer. My bad. That's who's next. I'm gonna go in order of what I have on this sheet here. All right, and I will put this in the description so we know who goes in what order and my score associated with. Okay. I gave Kyle a 75. So that murmur that you did in the beginning, don't drag it out that long. You're lucky. That right there. Don't do that anymore. I should have given you 73. Stall clock, okay. Okay, so I think the reason why I gave you a 75 instead of a 73 is because you stall clucked, which that's a complex note, and you hiccuped. So you had a little bit of complexity, so that's what brought you up to a 75 for me. But that thing that you did in the beginning, that long drawn out thing, don't do that anymore. That's not it. Oh, wait a minute. That was your round 2. Okay. I bet you I gave you an 83 in round 2 and gave you 85 in round 1, or 75 in round 1. Yeah, you didn't do it in round 1. That's exactly what happened. You did not do that in round 1, so you got a higher score, 75, and I bet you I gave an 83 in round 2 for doing that long drawn out thing. That's exactly what happened. So you can add some things. You can make your goose rhythm a little bit better. Yeah, you add a little bit of technicality, learn some more notes. And that goose rhythm, man, that low to high to low, all on one breath. My bad for listening to the wrong round on yours, taking up your guys' time. Okay, that was Kyle Bauer. Dustin Frankie. Okay, Dustin, you're a young man. This is not an open style routine, so this is live. So the hails, that's one of the first things that told me that you didn't even know what contest, and that's okay. Now you know. Now the next one, you know never to do hails again for a live contest. You got your clucks down. You're going a little faster than I think you can go. You need to be able to do them correctly. And it's just clucks. So you need to learn some moans. Right there. Oh, there you go. Good moans, but very repetitive. And you need to learn goose rhythm. Low, high, low. And never do hails in a live contest. And you didn't know, man. It's okay. But I have to give scores the way I see fit. And if you didn't know this contest was alive and you did that, I have to give you 73. Okay? So, you got a 73. Who is next? Yeah, that was all right. So now we're at Sawyer Fye. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your guys' names. I mean, if you can't tell, I'm not very good with the spelling. Sawyer. And almost instantaneously. Oh, see that quiver moan? It was good. It was okay, but it was just on the verge of not being okay, and I gave you 75. You got to make sure you're hitting them things correctly. Sorry, guys. I'm supposed to be doing a phone call here, but yeah, I'll do one here in a minute. We'll make a part 3. Great train notes. I don't know why it stopped on me all of a sudden. Come on. Where's this thing being like this? Crisp notes, murmurs, hiccuping. That was a mess note. Flow's pretty good. Timing is really good. Oh, double. I think that was a triple. Okay, so right there, great stuff. That was nice trains, I mean, and nasty griddly, but there was some mistakes, and so that's why I didn't give you a 78. I gave you a 77. Okay, now we're gonna do a part 3. Okay, so this is part 2. We're gonna do a part 3. I gotta make a phone call, and yeah,